Thank you for joining us for another episode of Tog Talks, sponsored by Photographer Entrepreneurs Association. And if you haven't had a chance to check out the association, go to photographerentrepreneur.com to learn more about photography business resources, templates, training, and support. We'll see you over there.
There you go.
All right, welcome back. We are here with Megan DiPiero. Hi, Megan.
Hey.
Hello, guys.
We're so excited for another fun interview with Megan, and she has so much to share. We're really excited that she's able to join us because we know you are super busy.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
so happy you're here.
Thank you.
For those of you who don't know Megan, let me tell you a little bit about her, and then we're going to dive right in.
Cool.
So Megan is an award-winning portrait photographer. Out of her modest home studio, she's built a powerful boutique brand, earning a six-figure salary for her family of four. Recognized as a top 100 industry influencer, Megan shares her business expertise at national conventions and in her popular Facebook group, Rise to the Top with Megan DiPiero. So, hi, Megan.
Hello.
So why don't we just dive right in?
Sure.
Let's start off by you telling us a little bit about your background and experience, expertise, and maybe something about your business that not that many people know about.
Oh, okay. So my background is actually in sales. I am now going on 20 plus years in sales. So I am college dropout and proud. I really love learning from life. So I go and I just have always been like a devourer of books and business books. So I started in sales and I've sold everything. I've sold cars, I've sold bras, I've sold books. You know, if you need something sold, you talk to me. So I
love it.
And then I got into photography because, of course, I had kids, and like every other mom photographer out there, I had to document everything. So I was just photographing them all the time, and one thing led to another, and I just started in the shoot and burn world, and then really quickly said, wait a second, I know sales and I can figure out business. So let me get in from that point of view. And I just studied the business of photography, really easily applied what I knew about sales and customer service. And then I was off to the races and just immediately jumped into the boutique model, which has been working for me ever since. So I love that.
I love that.
That
I
is
love
awesome.
that. Can you tell us a little bit more about the boutique model for those that aren't really as familiar with that?
Sure. Yeah. So boutique, I don't know if there's a hard and fast definition of it, but my understanding is that it would be low volume, high sales. And in my world, I do believe high sales for most boutique photographers would be over $1,000, anywhere up to tens of thousands of dollars. But I do a lot of hand holding and concierge service. So I go to my clients for many meetings, for consultation, for ordering appointment, and then they come to me for the portrait session. So everything is in person, hand holding, and guiding them through the process.
Wow. It's the experience-based model that I think a lot of people are realizing, because I'm sure you've heard it for years, but this, being more hands-on. So you didn't say like, I'm going to take a photo, or I'm just going to answer that email, give them my price list, and do the minimalistic thing as possible. Yeah. And we see a lot of people in the groups, especially in your group when we're in there all the time, is, that limiting belief that people have that,
right.
$4,000 sale from what starts off to be like a headshot inquiry.
Right.
Like, how is that? Like, it doesn't even seem realistic,
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is that when you think about today's economy, it's like anybody has access to anything. You can jump on Amazon and you can get whatever you want. And so I think that now it's even a better place to be in the boutique world and in the high customer service, because when you think about it, if you want a photo, you've got one in your hand. It's called your cell phone. It's perfect. But if you want to be posed and lit beautifully, or if you're like me and you just don't photograph that great and you need somebody to walk you through it and help you with the confidence piece of things, I think that's what we can really offer to our clients. And especially with everything available, I think of professions like interior design and, custom home builds and all these things. It's like you could pretty much buy whatever, but when you want that person with the expertise, then you're going to pay for it, and you're going to pay gladly because you're happy to have them help you through the process and make it better than what you could do on your own.
Oh, that's incredible.
Love that.
Yeah,
love that.
thank you.
So through all your experiences, you've probably encountered some challenges. So can you share one of your biggest business challenge and how you overcame that?
So I would say a big challenge is, for me, it's always like the confidence piece, because you never really get confident until after you do the thing that's scary. And so I've just constantly been up against that myself and just, wondering, can I do it? Will I do it? And I always just, when it comes down to it, I go back to the numbers because, this is a business. So if you want to run your business, look to the numbers. And so if I say to myself, well, can I do something? Is this realistic? Is this even smart or sound? Then I just look to the numbers. And so all along my path, I can see different points where we said, okay, what are we going to do here? Starting from even when I went from that shoot and burn transition over to boutique, I went from $250 for digitals to $2,500 for digitals. And the whole reason why I knew that I could do that is because the numbers on paper told me I had to. Okay, this is what I want to do. This is the salary. This is the kind of business I want to run. And so this are my fixed costs and my variable costs. And that was all written down on paper. And I said, okay, now I've got to just go for it, or I've got to just die trying. And so I did not have the confidence at that first time I did it. It was extremely scary. And I think so many people, what they wrestle with is that feeling of I'm not worth it. And who's going to value this? And do I even value it myself? And there's so much fear and it's just scary to be in that place. So looking to the numbers, build your rock solid foundation. And what I did is when I first launched my brand, because I was afraid of those numbers so much, I put my kid's picture on the back of my product guide, and nobody ever saw that. Nobody ever flipped it around. I just knew it was there and it was in my hands. And I thought, if I can't do this for me, if I'm too afraid for myself, I can do it for them. So, it's not always about that you're going to get the confidence on the inside. You're not just going to instantly grow that confidence muscle. Sometimes it's relying on numbers. Sometimes it's relying on people, finding the right people that believe in you and then going for it that direction. So I do look a lot to the outside for my strength. And then once I have it, then I get the strength on the inside. So it's just been step by step. I find that that's always where I'm at. It's like that confidence bridge where you have to say, am I going to leap this or am I going to stay where I am? And that's just happened again and again. And right now we're at the stage where we're building a dream studio and something we've been wanting to do for 3 years, and it was a glimmer in my eye for even longer than that. And so it's a huge, huge investment. But the numbers pan out on paper. It's like, this is a sound decision. This is going to help me move to the next level. And you just have to at one point just jump and go for it.
I love that. Yeah. I love it.
It's really exciting because I tell you, we see it a lot in this business, especially because people come into this. Sometimes they're accidental entrepreneurs. Sometimes they're the artist that's out photographing things they naturally love automatically, like flowers or architecture, nature things. And then when you start saying, know your numbers, like that scares a lot of people, like the limiting beliefs that we have. Sometimes it's associated like, oh, no, I don't want to be that way because I'm going to treat people differently, any emotional attachment. And then we see another group where they used to, just like you and I, and actually Melissa as well, like in other businesses where we were like salary or maybe commission, it's like, okay, for a third party, we went out and we sold because we had somebody that kept us accountable. And I'm really excited to see that because I think a lot of people, the moment that I think where they trip up is, and I feel like you've already said it, is that when you try to sell something yourself, the fear of rejection and that fear, like all of a sudden, you could sell cars before, but for some reason you can't sell your own thing. Yeah. So you took it external to like your kids. Mm-hmm. So that was your motivator. So you weren't selling for you. You're still selling for a third party in a way. Right. You be able to mentally shift it to get it, because I think a lot of people are afraid people are rejecting me. Sure. And it's just amazing because we see all these people that had these sales backgrounds. Mm-hmm. At some point in their lives, they sold something, like even if it was in retail, right? Had to go up and talk to people or whatever. But then when they had to do it for themselves, it kind of like shut down. Yeah. Yeah. And I think we all, as artists, at some time you're going to encounter, and I mean, this is like the tragic and realistic truth of what we're doing here, is that we're capturing people's families and their life and their love. And at some point we're all going to have a client who passes. Mm-hmm. And when you look at it that way too, is like, the ways that people talk to you after that, like, this is my most cherished gift. This is amazing. And so again, externally, if you can look to, hey, maybe I doubt myself, but I don't doubt that capturing this picture of this family is going to mean something to them in their life. And what price tag, is worthy for that memory that you're creating. And just thinking too, that it is your livelihood as well. It's like sustaining you and your family. And so of course that has worth. My family, again, family of 4, one income, and we do it all and it works. And so it's like, you have to value that too. That's good.
Good,
That's
good,
great.
good.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, yes. So I want to talk about marketing now because you've built such a successful studio and you've probably done a lot of different marketing techniques along with that. So can you share with us maybe some of your favorite and best marketing techniques?
Sure. So I definitely am a big believer in community marketing. And it was funny because I was recently just teaching a class and I said, well, I'm not that great at Facebook. And then I started talking about it and I was like, wait, I am really great at Facebook. But I do Facebook in a completely different way than most people do. Like most people say, what's the right picture I have to put and what words do I write with it and how much do I boost it for and what ads do I do and which demo? And they're coming at it from that very analytical point of view. And what I do along the lines of community marketing is I come at it from a point of view of how many people can I connect with and how many people can I connect with deeply. Mm-hmm. So I've really been building that up recently and something it's just been fascinating me, like how many connections you can make. So I do, I'll like jokingly say I Facebook stalk my clients, but I do. All my clients are my friends and I more use the personal side of Facebook than I do the business side. So I have lists on my page, on my news feed that I can sort my clients and sort my VIP clients so I can constantly see what they're up to. And then what that allows me to do is that when I see them in real life, because I'm not just going to be behind the computer, I'm going to get out there and I get out to 2 events a week minimum. And so when I'm out, I can say, wow, congrats on whatever. And I heard that your son just had a baby, or I'm so excited that your husband, or congrats on the award or whatever it is. And there's all kinds of ways you can use that. Like genuinely what happens is that people want to do business with people they like. Mm-hmm. And, when you think about, well, who do you like and how do you like someone? And what happens is that when someone makes you feel good, when they are listening to you, caring about your life, noticing you, that's who you're going to like. So I would go through and I have a practice now where I write 3 letters a day to clients and friends just to notice something about them. I also really like the idea of taking when someone wins an award, like I'll check out my local glossy magazines from society magazines like Southwest Florida and such. And I'll say, okay, well, who's just been noticed in there? And the cool thing is if you're in a magazine, you probably don't want to toot your own horn and say, I was in a magazine. But if someone does it for you, then you love that person because they just helped you out. And now, so I've done this quite a few times where I'll go and I'll just snap a picture of the magazine spread and say, hey, congrats, great coverage in that magazine. And then 200 of their friends will comment something.
That's awesome.
Just finding a way to see people and putting the spotlight on them is so great and so beneficial because so many photographers are afraid of putting the spotlight on themselves. Mm-hmm. And they say, what am I going to say? What am I going to post? Well, stop caring about you and start caring about others. And they're going to naturally be wanting to do business with you because of that.
Wow, you just said a lot in that very short period of time. So I do want to validate, because I know Melissa won't even, again, toot her own horn, but she was a recipient of that type of feeling where she recently was recognized as being one of the 40 under 40 in the state of Delaware for like business this past year. So she went through the whole award and everything like that. But I think there was just one person, like a company, but as an individual person that took the time to write a note.
Yes.
And mail it to her, and that just made
my day.
It made
me. So, and who that company is now. They're like totally on your radar.
Exactly. So there was another one who personally went to you, and I ended up being an HR firm, so it was like a mutual benefit.
Yeah. Yes.
Where she ended up having lunch with them. Yeah. But they went out of their way to congratulate her and everything on a personal level.
Yeah.
They just attended the event and they worked the room. I have to say that they did it a little bit differently, but they didn't ask for anything. They were there just to say, how can I help you?
Yeah, sure.
But I want to circle back to the Facebook thing because I think that was so key because I didn't think a lot of people realize that you can create lists. You can take all your friends, not your business page, but your friends list, and you can actually label them so that they fall into a list. So instead of just seeing your normal Facebook feed that you see, you can actually trigger and say, hey, I only want to see these people's updates.
Yeah.
And so when you're in, that is so brilliant because it's like, okay, Chet Holmes came up with the idea of like your dream 100 years ago. And it's like, okay, well, you can narrow down your friends list because for us, it's overwhelming. I have over 5,000. Well, I keep getting people off the list so I can add new ones, but I keep maxing at 5,000.
Yeah.
I have like about 1,700 people following on top of that. So it's like my feed is just nuts. It's like it's all over the place. And Facebook always shows me something that happened last week versus what's relevant today. So to get rid of all that noise, though, it's like, okay, here's your influencers or your VIPs.
Right.
So you can click just to see and then make them feel good. You said that so quick. I had to circle back around to
I love
that.
it.
That was like gold. It was like,
turn the attention around, and then you don't have to worry because, and it's very interesting, but I heard this the first time I was speaking. One of my friends gave me the best advice ever. She said, she said, how are you feeling? I'm like, I'm nervous. She's like, well, here's the thing. Are you there to make yourself look good, or are you there to serve people? And I'm like, oh, I'm there to serve people. And as soon as I said that out loud, all the worry just disappeared. Right. And so for photographers sitting there and saying, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? How do I say it right? If you just flip it and say, how can I serve? Who can I notice? How can I be nice today? What can I do? And just look that way. I guarantee you all the fear is going to slip away because now you're redirected in the right course of action anyway.
I love that.
That's excellent. Excellent.
And you had mentioned that you go to at least 2 events a week. Can you tell us about what events you go to?
Because we're big about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I color coded on my calendar as a check for myself so that I can say, okay, where's my blue on my calendar? And there's just so many things you can do once you start getting tapped in. Of course, there's, the obvious networking events like Chamber, Women in Business. There's Business Before Brunch. There's just so many things like that. All the networking things you can get into. And then beyond that, there's like mastermind, have a mastermind of local entrepreneurs that are working towards the same audience, and then just network with them. So once a month I have that with some of my local peers. I also do one-on-one lunches or coffee breaks with folks just to say, like, what are you up to? I take my clients out. We just had a party for, we went shopping with some of my clients and got them a discount at a store. So
fun.
Yeah, they love that. I mean, talk about a marketing expense. For me to buy a round of drinks for everybody is like, what, $100?
Yep.
And, if they all book sessions, that couple thousand, so it works out really well. And just to say, like, how can I notice that client and, what can I do for you? So I just love that. And even like my business partners, or I think of them as like my alliances, I will say, what can I do for you? So helping them out, and just simple things like my dentist was like, how do we do a before and after of this dental procedure? I'm like, oh, well, let me show you. I'll give you a tutorial in Photoshop. And so sitting with them, serving them, not asking anything in return. And that to me is networking. So as many ways as I can serve, how can I help you? How can I get connected with you? That's what I'm looking for from a networking point of view. And there's just so many ways to do that.
So this is so foreign for photographers because I think they're not used to not hanging out with other photographers.
Yes. We can hang out with other business owners. Yes, especially, and like step away from Facebook. Although Facebook's delightful and there's great resources there, but scheduling the time to go out. And here's the other thing too, is that this stuff doesn't come easy for anyone. And now I'm at the point where I can go to an event and I'm sure to know at least someone there. Yeah. But when I first started, I knew nobody. And that was the most terrifying thing. And I'm an extrovert, so good luck introverts. But but I was like, okay, I have to go. And so, again, having accountability, having what is my why, what's my purpose, and how can I make it easier for myself? So I hired my makeup artist and I said, here's your job. Your job is to make me get out there. So we're going to walk up to places together and we're going to go meet people. And what I want you to do is your sole job, please remember the name of the person I'm talking to, because I'm going to be so nervous I'm going to forget. Yeah. And I did, but I just went up and I met a business owner and I said, tell me about your store and who could I send to you? What kind of clients would be the perfect match for you? Now think about that as a photographer. How amazing would it be if someone came up to you and said, what clients can I send to you? Yeah. You would love them forever. And that's, of course, what happens. I say, who can I send to you? What's the perfect kind of client for you? Is there anything I can help you with? Oh, and then maybe don't do this all at once. First intro, just get to know them. But then round 2, I come back again and I say, oh, I was just looking and I saw that you have this big event coming up. Do you need a photographer for that? Or round 3, oh, I saw that on your website that you guys have great headshots of the staff, but I noticed that your hair has changed. Do you need a new headshot? Can I give you this gift card that you can come in and experience what I do and try it out? And so I'm also not afraid. This is a little bit of controversial too, but with photographers, we always debate, do we do it for exposure, right? And how much should we be giving away for free? And so my line on that is that I actually like to pursue the free myself. I don't like when people come to me and say, can you do this for free? It'd be great exposure. Because then I'm like, would it? But if I come to you and I say, I would love to help you. Can I give you this gift card? Would you like to come in and try this with me? Then they're completely covered. If they want to only redeem what the gift card covers, then more power to them. And if they want to spend more, great. If they love it so much they want to share, great. But it's just like giving that exposure and choosing who you're going to give that to is really helpful.
That's excellent. So you definitely, what you're doing is you're immersing yourself where your ideal client is hanging out.
Yes.
So you're not sitting back hoping and praying and waiting for the random person to find you.
Yeah.
You're actually you're dipping your toe in each of the ponds where these people are naturally hanging out.
Yep.
We're really big about. A lot of photographers are introverts. That's the challenge though, is that some of us are more extroverted and we go into these and we work a room. I love how you make it conversational, because years ago when I taught sales, there's always an acronym, WIIFM, like what's in it for me?
Right.
Instead of you as a salesperson or you as the photographer, you flipped it and it's about the person that you're talking to. Because a lot of people we see doing networking wrong, where they're going right in, doing their elevator pitch for 30 seconds.
It's scary.
And walk 3 feet and they do the same thing again, and that person overhears the same thing. Play out. But it's just something, you make it about them.
Right.
People love to talk about themselves. You ask open-ended questions, which is excellent. And now you know more about them, and you can now serve their needs. So there's so much. I feel like we're in a workshop with you. Right now.
Oh, it's great.
This is great. This is great.
Well, and I always say to people too, I'm like, get people to talk about your baby, because everyone loves to talk about their baby, right? But their baby can be whatever their baby is. If you're talking to a woman who's getting married, her baby is her wedding. If you're talking to a business owner like us, who we love to talk about our business, oh my God, if you get me asking, hello, we're doing it right now, you ask me about my business, I can't shut up. So somebody asked me about my baby, my business, I'm going to go on and on. So you just let them open up about whatever is their thing, and then they will love you, because now you've noticed, you've listened, you've cared. And, Dale Carnegie says you can get more friends by listening for 2 hours than you can for talking about for 2 years.
Yes.
So that is so key. Oh my gosh. Everyone has to read How to Win Friends and Influence People.
I was ready. I was going to, you didn't.
Yes.
It's still one of the foundational network, just human communication, books that's out there. It's been out there forever, and all this technology and all this disruption, you still need to go back to the core, communication skills. And
I know from the 30s it was written, right? Like in 1930, hello, nothing has changed. 1930, and people still connect the same way.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you've already given so much advice, but for a photographer that's just getting started out, what would you tell them? What kind of advice would you give them?
I would say invest in business for sure. And by that, I mean business education, because I know many people who will go 5-10 years just barely scraping by. And meanwhile, you ask them about their gear and the art workshops and the instructors they've spoken with, and it's all lighting, posing, Photoshop, and I'm like, where's your business education? So I would do, and I did do this, business first. That is the first thing I did. And I put all my dollars into that. And it was a really big gamble. It was, I spent money I couldn't afford, went on credit, did it, immediately recouped it back. Because the cool thing is when you study business, you do get it back immediately. And also not to worry so much. Like I will say, like a very cool moment for me, I'll toot my own horn here, was that I got the Grand Imaging Award nominee. And I know, and that was like I was in business 7 years before that happened, and I'm still surprised it happened. And I don't know if it'll ever happen again, because I don't think I'm the world's best artist. I've seen way better artists than me. I've seen way better artists than me that are shooting burners, but the people who will be in business 10 years from now are the people who put their business mastery first, and their artistic mastery will come along just from the mere fact that, it takes 10,000 hours to be a master. So if you can stay in business and be profitable and sustainable long enough, then sure enough, the mastery will come. So I would rather see people there first.
You're talking our language.
Yes.
And just like you, like we're personally coaching, and even this past week, it revealed itself that there's a couple members within our community that have been going out and spending this ridiculous amount of money going to these really crazy high-end, photo shoot style workshops for several years now. And they don't even have their standard emails put into place or a follow-up sequence, or they don't know how to get people on the phone. They don't have a price list. Like here they are, they're spending thousands and thousands of dollars a year
Yes.
chasing that shiny object thing. And if they get an inquiry, they like shut down every single time. They get hit by the same punch. They get into the ring and get hit by the same punch every single time, and they're not prepared. As if it was the first time. It amazes me.
And you guys would probably agree too, that it's not, I mean, perhaps, okay, I will say maybe I'm a master of business. I'm maybe not a master artist, but I'm doing really well with business. But you guys would probably admit this, that everything that we've achieved is through practice.
Absolutely.
And it's like, people are afraid. Yes, I was afraid. I didn't know how to answer a phone. I didn't know what an email template was or even what words to say, but I just honed it, and got my words down and got my practice in and realized it's not about me, it's about them, and just practice that. I mean, there actually is the art of connection that you can study and practice and refine. And so if you're afraid, just start it and it will get better and easier as you go.
Right. And I'm sure with your background in sales, you've done tons of role playing and practice rounds. So I think that's one of the things that we always stress with photographers, that practice role play, get someone to partner up with and practice your, your conversation that you have, especially if you're feeling rusty about it. So,
right. Absolutely.
You don't want to go in the Super Bowl with not practicing. And that's how we look at, like, when you sit down with a client, like, that's not the time to practice. Like,
no.
That's game day. The reason why professional athletes make it look so easy and good is because the 80 hours of practice they did for that 2-3 hour game. And that's why it's so good.
And another thing too, since you touched on athletes, is I love the concept of pre-visualizing your success. And just sitting there, and I will, before an ordering appointment, I'll just sit and be like, okay, what's my basement? What's my ceiling for this sale? Where is it going to go? What things are they going to say? How am I going to react when this happens? How do I share with them what I'm most passionate about their portraits, and just thinking that through so that it's everything I do with business, it's proactive, not reactive. Like, there shouldn't be surprises because I've thought it through.
Right. That's excellent. Love it.
Excellent.
If we all could do that, though, that's the.
Well, we can do it.
Just gotta get there.
I have a fun question for you now. So if you were to relocate to a new area and no one knew who you were, and you had $1,000 in your business bank account, what would you do with that money to market yourself?
I would go and I would spend that money in businesses that align with me. So, and, to your previous point, Paul, about you were saying that, what about introverts, So this is a great thing for introverts to do too, because we all get our hair cut. I do. I get my hair cut every 6 weeks. Ladies who get their nails done every 2 weeks. It's like, why are you wasting that opportunity? You could be sitting there and you could be connecting with someone. And I would probably, I'm actually really tempted to do this. I had my teeth fixed as an adult. I just got out of braces last year. That was great fun. And I'm actually tempted to go and get Invisalign again, just because I want to make more connections with orthodontists. And I'm like, my teeth are fine. But anyway, I think it's really great, because when you think of, I think of who would be a perfect match for me. The whole time I was in braces, I just kept thinking, oh my God, the second these things are off. And I had the shiny silver with the elastic bands. I was like one step shy of headgear. It was gorgeous. And, and the whole time I had that, I was like, as soon as this comes off, I'm getting portraits done. I'm like, yes, headshots, new family portraits, before maybe, I don't know. We're doing it all. So, and I think my clients must think like that too, because if you care enough to go through the torture of braces as an adult, clearly image is something that matters to you, and you want to put your best foot forward. I mean, I imagine these are business people who care about having a winning smile, or these are moms who want to feel beautiful, or whoever it is, whatever their reason is. That's a great client to have. So I just try to think, okay, what are the businesses that my clients are going to care about? And then I'm going to go get connected with them. So that's exactly what I would do. I would take that $1,000 and I divide it out, and I said, all right, let me go get my hair and highlights here. Let me get my nails done there. Let me find a new dentist here, and I would just divvy that money up. No marketing dollars in the traditional sense, but a lot of great connections and relationships.
And you're going to look and feel good at the same time.
Right? I don't know if my accountant would 100% agree with that as write-off, but I'm calling it my marketing expense.
But, and again, so think about that, is that what you're doing is you're not going to any salon.
Right.
You're not finding a $10 haircut salon, because that's not where your avatar, your perfect ideal client's going to be hanging out.
Yes.
And the salon owner and the people you're going to naturally meet, they're not going to be servicing the people that you want. So you're being very methodical as far as where you want to go, because you want to be congruent with the type of clients that you want to attract.
Yep.
Which I think is great, because you're day one instantly immersing yourself to people that are influencers. Especially like in the wedding market, I loved, for many years, because we did that for real estate when I was in real estate. Like I would actually bounce around to several high-end salons, get my hair cut at different ones all the time. And the main reason for that is because that's where people go to gossip. That's where people say, I just got engaged. Oh, I just broke up. I lost my job. I got a job. Whatever it was, is life was going up or down.
Yeah.
So you're going to buy or sell a house, most likely.
Yeah.
And I did the same thing for weddings, because the same thing happens. It's the same place you go. You're going to tell your hairstylist, you're going to celebrate. And I mean, that's really key. Now, the other opposite end is, when it's positive and negative, is like the bartender. They know a lot of things going on too. That's a whole other issue. We'll cover that a different time.
That's true. Definitely can't write off those marketing dollars.
No. So is there a success ritual or something that you do on a daily or regular basis that you think contributes to your success?
Definitely my calendar is my best friend, and I probably open that thing about 20 times a day, and I have just color coded to the max. And when people see my calendar, they think I must be insane, but it's all there. And what I think about is that if something's important to you, you're going to schedule it. So if lunch with your mom on a Saturday is important to you, it's not just going to happen by accident. It's going to be because you held the space and you honored that time and you made it happen. And so, and even on a personal note too, my husband and I on the calendar every Friday, date night. That's really important to us. We work in the same business. We don't see each other, so we do. So I always want to schedule and make space for things. And that is like the easiest success ritual, because when I wake up in the morning, it's all right there. I don't even have to think about it. I'm like, oh, my networking plugged in, my consultations plugged in, my portrait sessions plugged in. And so it's all right there. And so that's definitely the biggest thing for me. The other thing is I am very much I'm a morning person for sure. So you won't find me out at the bars late. No. I would rather be up at the gym. That's my thing. And part of that was because naturally, that's just sort of my chronotype. I read books about that and I like that idea. But the other thing is that I look to people who are successful and I say, what are they doing? And let me emulate that. Yeah. And so I ask myself, is this how a CEO would act? Is this how a rich person would dress? And so I look into my life and I say, well, what can I improve? And I think that successful, wealthy people are probably at the gym every day. So I'm like, well, where do I fit in gym time? Oh, well, it's not going to happen during the day when I have my kids around. So I'm like, well, it's going to happen at 5:30, and there it is. So starting the day like that is a really good way to have everything flow from there. And I'm actually, if you see me on Facebook today, I'm going to have people hold me accountable to that, because I was really good for a while and I got off track. But it's like, having that accountability of the day, being like, I'm starting my day right, I'm ending my day right, because I'm tired now, so I'm going to go to bed on time. And just really having a full day. I love that. And when people look at that, they think that's too overwhelming. I couldn't possibly either. Like, this is not natural for me to be as organized and focused as I am. So having these constraints in place is what makes the magic happen. And so I don't think very many people would love to be in the gym at 5:30, but when you do it, you're grateful for it and it improves your life,
Yeah, I totally can relate to that, because I'm a big yoga person. So that's my thing. But I don't want to go to yoga every single day. But again, you block it out, you protect yourself, because you have to protect that time. Because like you said, it doesn't happen naturally. It's not just going to happen. You have to make that time and put on the schedule. So I love that. So,
and I see a different person if she doesn't go to yoga.
Right?
So, trickle into the personal life. But we have to do this. We're very busy as well, and we keep a very solid schedule. And we had to say that life got better when Melissa took control of the calendar.
Oh, good job.
My strongest point. So I found, my weakness and passed it off because it was Melissa's strongest point. But she also does exactly that. When she first met me, I was like a machine and it was just working. It felt like 24/7. Yeah. And we had to set boundaries. That word was introduced. And we scheduled our personal care time, our personal time.
Yes.
So because it doesn't happen otherwise.
Right. Totally.
So it's great to hear you do that as well.
And you have color coding too.
She doesn't do color coding.
Oh, color coding.
The same color of ours.
Oh, I love the color coding. Yes. We'll talk offline, Melissa.
Wow. Right there. I'm like,
yep.
I'm such a nerd about that stuff, but I love it.
Totally.
So is there a business resource or tool that you also use in your business that you really can't live without, or that contributes to your success?
That's a good one. My business tool. I'm very much like a pen and paper kind of person. Yeah. And when I started my business, everything was on paper, and I developed these resources for myself and I share them with others. I'm like, okay, well, if I want to see my sales grow, I'm going to have a little thermometer and my handy dandy highlighter, and I'm going to track it up. And so it's very satisfying to like put pen to paper and see that stuff take shape. And it's interesting because we are right now on the very edge of changing away from pen and paper. Yeah. So I will say I've developed really beautiful tools that I've loved for years, but as our volume grows, I have to move away from paper. So I don't know exactly what that answer is right now, because we're in the process of developing and we just signed on with some other new programs. So I'll give you my full endorsement once I've had a year under my belt with that.
Love it. And there's not, I think pen and paper, when it comes down to it, there's nothing wrong with that. And I still, with all the systems that we have, I might have my handy dandy notebook. That's what guides me along every single day. So
and don't underestimate that. It's just,
absolutely.
The point is, are you keeping track?
Yeah.
And then however you keep track is going to based on, your type and what's sufficient to you. And, but that's like, are you keeping track? That's the point.
Yeah.
Good.
She's the organized one. So. But she adopted something called the bullet journal
which I love that
concept. And that's really helped you do very, very well on that. Because for me, I'm old school. So if I don't see it, so if it's hidden in the computer, it doesn't exist.
I know, my feeling too.
Right? So I need to see things up on boards, which is like behind here, and see, like, I need to see things tracked. I'm a very, I have to say, from a business standpoint, even though it's not in the personal life as much, like I'm a very numbers person, because business is numbers. And, and the people that aren't tracking that, there's so many weak points that they could just tweak one part of their process,
right?
And they could astronaut, like the amount of money that they could just make. They might not even need to have more clients.
Yeah,
it could just be one other part of their process that if they had a better conversion, it would just change their life. And
and even knowing what is your conversion, right? Like, how can you change your conversion if you don't know what it is?
Exactly. So last but not least, what are you working on now, and how can people get in touch with you?
Okay, so what we're working on in our we have two businesses. We do mentoring, we do photography. And photography business, I'm definitely working on. I just love the book Story Brand by Donald Miller. Love that. That's all the rage. Everyone's talking about it. So I went into it and I did the workshop, and now we're going to be implementing a brand new facelift for our website that's going to be story brand driven and connecting with the client, which really aligns with everything I love anyway. So it's like, how do I make the client the hero, and how do I communicate that to them? So that's going to be a big overhaul. On the mentoring side of things, we're introducing some new programs, also story brand driven, that are going to be showing people how to elevate their businesses with a couple new programs, like an accountability piece. Love accountability. So just talking people through so that we can be each other's accountability partner and go out and make the marketing happen. So that's another big piece too. And where people can find me, Rise to the Top is definitely the best place. That's our Facebook group, Rise to the Top with Megan DiPiero. And also soon, and maybe sooner than later, is our newly revamped website page, which we'll have for photographers, which is just megandipiero.com.
Love it.
And we'll make sure that we list all the links and everything for everybody in the show notes as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. And awesome. I feel like, with Paul said, I feel like we were in a workshop. Like you shared so much information, and I love how you bring it back to the client, making them the hero, like you said, making them, giving them the extra service, and just so much information here that if for anyone that's watched and listened to this, they have to go back and listen over again.
Right.
We're all busy, and I do appreciate you taking the time and everything as well out of your schedule to help our audience as well. And we look forward to seeing you pretty soon at one of the conferences that we're seeing.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Tog Talks, sponsored by Photographer Entrepreneurs Association. And if you haven't had a chance to check out the association, go to photographerentrepreneur.com to learn more about photography business resources, templates, training, and support. We'll see you over there.